Education is wasted on you. My father bellowed as he doused the pile in the driveway with lighter fluid. 43 books. My Stanford acceptance letters. Everything I possessed went up in flames. You're not going anywhere. Your brother died for this country. The least you can do is stay home and keep quiet like a proper daughter. I had already surrendered that scholarship. Every cent raised in his name clings to me still. He smiled as the fire consumed it all. 3 days later, a black car pulled up in front of our house. Colonel Patricia Brennan, my brother's commanding officer, stepped out accompanied by 2 strangers. My father glanced through the window and his face drained completely of color. He breathed in disbelief. How is this even possible? My name is Evie Andrews and I'm 17 years old. Before I tell you how everything my father constructed upon my brother's death came crashing down before the entire town, please take a moment to like and subscribe if this story already makes your blood boil. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. This is only the beginning. Nathan left when I was 8 years old. June 2022. He had just graduated high school, turned 18 3 weeks earlier. I remember standing in the driveway watching him load his duffel bag into Mrs. Caldwell's car. She was his English teacher, driving him to the recruitment office in Great Falls because Dad refused to take him. "Why are you leaving?" I asked. Nathan knelt down, pulled me into a tight embrace, and whispered in my ear, "Evie, study hard. Earn scholarships. Get out when you're old enough. Don't stay here." I didn't understand then. I thought he meant don't stay in our small town of Riverside, Montana. Population 8,500. The kind of place where everyone knows everyone and leaving feels like betrayal. But Nathan didn't mean the town. He meant the house. After he left, things changed. Not immediately. Not all at once. But like water slowly rising. We didn't notice until we were already drowning. Mom had died 2 years before Nathan enlisted. March 2020. I was 11. The official story, heart attack. She was 39 years old. 1 minute she was making dinner. The next, paramedics were carrying her out on a stretcher. She never woke up. Dad told everyone she had a weak heart. Nobody questioned it. Nobody asked why the paramedics took 23 minutes to arrive when we lived 6 minutes from the hospital. Nobody asked why there was blood on the kitchen floor that Dad scrubbed away before they got there. Nobody asked, because in Riverside you don't question a grieving husband. After Mom died, Dad established new rules. No friends over. Homework at the kitchen table where he could watch. No locked doors. No phone privacy. He'd sit across from me while I studied, drinking beer, making comments. "You think you're smart," he'd say. "Your mother thought she was smart too." He never finished that sentence. Never explained what he meant. Just let it hang there like a warning. Nathan came home on leave twice. Christmas 2022. Easter 2023. Both times he barely spoke to Dad. He'd take me to the library, buy me books, ask about school. "Are you keeping your grades up?" he'd ask. "Good. Don't let anything distract you. Education is your ticket out." The second time, Easter 2023, Nathan seemed different. More urgent. He pulled me aside in the library, made sure Dad wasn't nearby. "Evie, I need you to promise me something." "What?" "If anything happens to me, don't believe a word Dad says. And don't let him trap you here. You're brilliant. You're going to get into college. When you do, you go. No matter what he says." "Why are you talking like this?" He simply squeezed my hand. "Promise me." I promised. I didn't understand why his eyes looked so devastated when I did. 3 weeks later, April 2023, the phone rang at 6:32 in the morning. Nathan was dead. Training accident. 19 years old. They said it was quick. I asked Dad what happened. "How did Nathan die?" "What kind of accident?" "Does it matter?" he said. "He's gone." Then he went to his room and made phone calls. A lot of phone calls. He wasn't crying. He was organizing. The funeral was enormous. Veterans Hall in Riverside. 320 people. Nathan's high school friends, teachers, veterans from the base, people from church. The local news was there. Dad gave the eulogy. "My son was a hero," he said, his voice steady. No tears. He loved his country. He loved his family. He wanted his sister to have opportunities he never had. That's the kind of man he was. People wept, nodded, approached Dad afterward, shook his hand, told him he was strong, told him they'd look after us. I sat in the front row hollow. Colonel Patricia Brennan, Nathan's commanding officer, handed me a folded flag. She held my hand 3 seconds longer than necessary, squeezed once. I didn't understand what that meant until much later. 1 week after the funeral, a GoFundMe went live. Nathan's Legacy Fund, help Evie Andrews go to college. I didn't know about it until I saw it on the local news. The story spread regionally, then nationally. Small Montana town rallies for fallen airman's sister. In 4 months, May through September 2023, strangers from across the country donated $185,000. Dad wept on camera, thanked the community, said he was overwhelmed by their generosity, said Nathan would be so proud. In December 2023, the Veterans Foundation of Montana held a ceremony. They established an official scholarship, the Nathan Andrews Memorial Scholarship. $150,000. 4 years. Any university I chose. They unveiled a plaque bearing Nathan's photo. The inscription read, "In honor of Airman First Class Nathan Andrews, 2004 to 2023, so his sister can fly." I was 15 years old. Freshman year of high school. I stood on that stage, shook hands, said thank you 63 times. Cameras flashed. A reporter asked me, "How does it feel knowing your brother's sacrifice opened this door?" I said, "I'll make him proud." I meant every word. I worked harder than I ever had in my life. Sophomore year, junior year, senior year, 4.0 GPA, AP classes, robotics club, debate team. Every night at that kitchen table with Dad watching me, I thought about Nathan's words. Education is your ticket out. In October 2025, I applied to 12 universities. Stanford was my first choice. I'd researched it for months. Biomedical engineering program. California. 2 days drive from Montana. Far enough. December 13th, 2025. 4 p.m. Pacific Time. 6 p.m. our time. Early action decisions released. I was in the school library with Mrs. Caldwell seated beside me. She was the teacher who had driven Nathan to the recruitment office 3 years before. She had become my mentor. I logged into the portal, hands trembling. Congratulations. Welcome to Stanford University, class of 2030. I read it 3 times. Whispered, I got in. Mrs. Caldwell embraced me. Of course you did. Nathan would be so proud. I started crying. The first happy tears since Nathan's funeral. The acceptance packet arrived 5 days later. Big envelope. I opened it in my room. Letter. Financial aid information. Welcome materials. Stanford t-shirt. I put it on, looked in the mirror, thought, this is real. I'm leaving. Dad came home from work, saw the envelope on the kitchen table, read the letter, face unreadable. Stanford. California. Yes. The scholarship covers everything. Nathan's scholarship. California's far. It's a great school. We'll talk about it later. He walked away. I felt cold. Over the next 2 months, 11 more acceptances arrived. MIT. Caltech. Duke. Every school I applied to. 12 for 12. The school made an announcement at senior assembly. A standing ovation from 420 students. That night, Dad didn't say congratulations. He said, all those schools want you because of Nathan, because of his story, because people feel sorry for you. Don't forget that. I went to my room, stared at the Stanford poster on my wall, and counted the days. 289 days until I leave. I can survive 289 days. In January, the scholarship board called. Evie, congratulations on Stanford. We need you and your father to come in and sign the enrollment forms. Just a formality. Can you both come in next week? I told Dad. He said he was busy at work. Told me to go sign my portion. He'd come by later. I went on January 8th, signed everything. The secretary, Mrs. Pritchett, smiled warmly. We just need your father's signature as guardian and we're all set. He'll come by this week. The week passed. Dad never showed. I reminded him 3 times. I'll get to it. January 20th. Mrs. Pritchett called again. Evie, we still need your father's signature. The deadline is February 15th. Can you have him call me? I asked Dad once more. He snapped. Stop nagging me. I said I'll handle it. Something in his tone made my stomach drop, but I told myself I was being paranoid. He was busy. He'd sign. Of course he'd sign. February passed. March arrived. I asked one final time. Dad, did you sign the scholarship forms? He looked at me. Really looked at me. And I saw something in his eyes I had never seen before. Satisfaction. I'll handle it, he said again. March 28th, 2026. Friday. 73 days before graduation. I came home from school at 3:15 and found Dad in the driveway. There was a pile on the ground. My textbooks. Nathan's old books I had kept on my shelf. My acceptance letters from all 12 universities. My research notebooks. He had a bottle of lighter fluid in his hand. Dad, what are you doing? He didn't answer. Just poured lighter fluid across the pile. Dad, stop. I dropped my backpack and sprinted toward it. He struck a match. Education is wasted on you, he shouted. The match fell. Flames erupted. I screamed, lunging for books at the edge of the fire. He seized my wrist and held firm. You're not going anywhere. Your brother died for this country. The least you can do is stay home and keep quiet like a proper daughter. I already rejected that scholarship. Every cent raised in his name belongs to me. My mind went blank. What? He smiled. Actually smiled. I withdrew your enrollment. All of them. January 19th. Told the scholarship board you decided to honor Nathan's memory by staying home. They believe me. Everyone believes me. Those are Nathan's books, I whispered. What are you doing? Nathan's dead. These books didn't save him. They won't save you either. He hurled Nathan's copy of Catch-22 into the heart of the flames. His favorite book. The one he'd read twice in high school. I tried to pull free. Dad tightened his grip on my wrist. Let it go. Our neighbor, Mrs. Betty Garrison, heard the shouting and stepped outside. She was 64, a retired nurse living next door. She took one look at the scene, pulled out her phone, and began recording. Dad didn't notice. He was too focused on me. You think you're special? Stanford doesn't want you. They want Nathan's story. And I'm not signing any forms. You're staying here. He finally released my wrist. I stumbled backward and sat down on the driveway, watching 43 books burn. The smell was suffocating. Scorched paper and lighter fluid and something else. My future, maybe. When the fire died, Dad went inside. I stayed there, staring at the ashes. Betty came over and placed her hand on my shoulder. Honey, I recorded all of that. I'm calling someone. Who? I don't know yet. But this isn't right. I nodded. Couldn't speak. Went inside. Dad was in the living room watching television, drinking beer. Didn't even glance at me. I went to my room, locked the door, opened my laptop, and logged into Stanford's portal. There it was. Enrollment status. Declined by parent/guardian. Date: January 19th, 2026. January 19th, 6 weeks ago. The day after Mrs. Pritchett called him. The day after I asked him to sign the forms. He hadn't forgotten. He had refused on purpose. I had been living inside a dream for 6 weeks, never knowing it was already dead. I checked the other portals. MIT, Caltech, Duke, all 12 schools. Same date. Same signature. Parent/guardian declining enrollment on behalf of student. He had dismantled everything in a single afternoon. I sat on my bed and searched my email. An automated message from MIT, dated January 20th. We're sorry to see you've declined enrollment. If circumstances change, please contact us by March 1st. March 1st was 4 weeks ago. Every school's deadline had passed. I opened the scholarship board portal. Status: withdrawn. Reason: student declined all university acceptances. No longer pursuing higher education. Parent/guardian statement. My daughter has decided to honor her brother's memory by staying close to family. Below that, a document. Supplemental fundraising authorization form. Signed by Daniel Andrews. January 25, 2026. Purpose: additional family support and memorial expenses. Additional fundraising. What additional fundraising? I couldn't sleep. At 2 a.m., I crept to the family computer in the living room. Dad was asleep upstairs. I had maybe an hour. I found a folder labeled financial_2025_2026. Bank statements. December 2025. Deposit of $18,000 from GoFundMe. January 2026. $32,000. February, $35,000. March, $8,000. Total, $93,000 received since Nathan's scholarship fund had officially closed. Expenses tracked. Blue Ridge Auto Sales, $48,000. Truck purchase, January 15th, Home Depot, $18,000. Remodel, February. Montana casino withdrawals totaling $22,000. Various dates. He had spent it all on himself. Another file. A spreadsheet titled Nathan_Memorial_Fund. XOSX. 2 columns. Actual use. Claimed use. Actual truck. Remodeled gambling bars. Claimed. Medical bills for Evie's therapy $15,000. Nathan's memorial bench at Veterans Park $8,000. Family grief counseling $6,000. Emergency home repairs $9,000. All fabricated. I never had therapy. No memorial bench existed. No counseling. No emergency repairs. Only the remodel he had wanted for himself. I kept searching. Found Dad's old phone in a desk drawer. He had upgraded in January and left this one behind. I powered it on. Text messages. January 19th. To Mrs. Pritchett. Hi, Donna. Dan Andrews here. Need to inform you Evie has decided not to pursue Stanford or any universities at this time. She's overwhelmed with grief and wants to stay close to home. Please withdraw her scholarship application. I'll come by to sign the forms this week. Thank you. Mrs. Pritchett's response. Dan, I'm so sorry to hear this. Are you sure? Evie seemed very excited when she came in to sign her portion. Should we speak with her directly? His reply. No need. She's very emotional right now. I'm her father. This is our family decision. I'll be by Friday to finalize. Another text chain. January 20th. To someone named Kyle. A bar friend, based on the context. Just pulled her enrollment. Stanford's out. She's staying home. Told the board she's too broken up about Nathan. They bought it. Easy money keeps rolling. Going to look at trucks this weekend. I sat on the floor surrounded by printouts, screenshots, and bank statements. The picture was complete. Dad had weaponized Nathan's death. Used grief as currency. Used my potential as sympathy bait. He had never intended to let me leave. The moment I succeeded, he destroyed it, because my success ended his narrative. No more grieving family in need of support. No more donations. No more attention. I had to remain trapped for his story to continue. Footsteps upstairs. Dad getting up. I quickly shut everything down and slipped back to my room. My phone buzzed. A text from Mrs. Caldwell. Evie, I need to see you Monday 7 a.m. before school. Important. Don't tell your father. I stared at the message, then deleted it. Dad appeared in my doorway. What are you doing up? Couldn't sleep. He stared at me. You better not be causing problems. I won't tolerate disrespect in this house. I'm not. He walked away. I lay in the dark thinking. Monday. Mrs. Caldwell. 7 a.m. Whatever she knows, I need to know it too. Monday morning, March 31st. I arrived at school at 6:45. Mrs. Caldwell's classroom. Door closed. She was already inside. Coffee made. Sit down, Eve. We need to talk. I sat. I've been your teacher since sophomore year. I've watched you work harder than any student I've taught in 20 years. I know how much Stanford meant to you. So when you stopped talking about it in February, I got worried. Then on Friday, Betty Garrison called me. She lives next door to you. She sent me a video. Mrs. Caldwell turned her laptop toward me and pressed play. 90 seconds. Dad pouring lighter fluid. Striking the match. Me lunging for Nathan's books. His words, sharp and clear. Education is wasted on you. I already rejected that scholarship. Every cent raised in his name belongs to me. Clear audio. Clear visuals. I watched it and began to shake. Evie. Mrs. Caldwell's voice was gentle. Did you actually decline Stanford, or did your father do it without your consent? I broke. The tears came and wouldn't stop. He did it. January 19th. I didn't find out until 3 days ago. Mrs. Caldwell didn't waste a moment. I'm calling the scholarship board, Stanford, and your guidance counselor today. This is not acceptable. But he's my father. He has legal guardianship. Educational neglect is a form of abuse. And fraud is fraud. She paused. Nathan was my student, too. Junior year of high school, spring 2022, right before he enlisted. He wrote an essay for me about family. It was deeply concerning. I flagged it with the counselor, but Nathan turned 18 2 weeks later and left for the Air Force. I always wondered if I should have done more. Her voice wavered slightly. I'm not going to make that same mistake with you. That afternoon, Mrs. Caldwell made 6 phone calls. The Veterans Foundation Scholarship Board. Stanford Admissions. The Montana Department of Family Services. The school principal. The guidance counselor. Montana Legal Services for free legal aid. At 7 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. Is this Evie Andrews? This is Lieutenant Colonel Patricia Brennan. I was your brother Nathan's commanding officer. Your teacher, Mrs. Caldwell, contacted me today. We need to talk. Can you meet me tomorrow? My heart stopped. Why? Because Nathan filed something with me before he died. And I think you need to see it. Tuesday, April 1st. I met Colonel Brennan at a coffee shop in Great Falls. Neutral territory. She was in civilian clothes but carried herself like someone who never truly left the military. She brought a file folder. Evie, Nathan came to me in May 2022, 1 month before he enlisted. He was still in high school but had already signed his delayed entry contract. He said, "Ma'am, if anything happens to me, I need you to make sure my sister gets this letter. Don't give it to my father. Only to Evie." I asked why. He said, "My father isn't who people think he is, and Evie is going to need proof someday." She handed me an envelope. Military postage. Sealed. Nathan's handwriting on the front. For Evie. Only Evie. My hands trembled. I couldn't open it there. Too public. Too raw. There's more, Colonel Brennan continued. Nathan also filed an unofficial report with me regarding your mother's death. Nothing I could legally act on while he was alive. But now, with your teacher's report and what I'm hearing about scholarship fraud, I'm reopening it. She looked at me directly. Evie, your mother did not die of a heart attack. The world tilted beneath me. That night I locked my door and read Nathan's letter. 3 pages. Handwritten. Dated May 15th, 2022. Dear Evie, if you're reading this, either I'm dead or you're finally free. I need you to know the truth about our family. Dad killed Mom. Not directly, but he might as well have. March 17th, 2020. I was home on spring break. They were fighting in the kitchen. I heard the yelling, came downstairs, and saw Dad shove her. She fell backward and struck her head on the corner of the kitchen counter. There was blood. She was unconscious. I screamed at him to call 911. He said, "She's fine. She's just being dramatic. She'll wake up." 20 minutes passed. She didn't wake up. I called 911 myself. Paramedics came. She never regained consciousness. She died in the hospital 3 hours later. The autopsy said heart attack. But I saw what happened. The head trauma caused the cardiac event. Dad told police they had been talking quietly, that she felt dizzy and collapsed. He lied. I was 17. Nobody believed me. After she died, I couldn't stay in that house. I enlisted the moment I turned 18. I haven't been back except for holidays. And every time I see you trapped the way Mom was trapped, it breaks me. Dad controls through love, through guilt, through family. He'll tell you you're selfish for wanting to leave. He'll use my death if I'm dead, or my service as emotional leverage. Don't believe him. Mom wanted to leave. She had a plan. She'd saved $8,000, hidden it in her sewing box in the attic. She told me the week before she died, "Nathan, when you turn 18, I'm taking Evie and we're going." She didn't make it. The money is still there. She'd want you to have it. Evie, you're the brilliant one. Earn scholarships. Get out of Riverside. Go to college far away. Don't let Dad convince you to stay for just one more year. It's never 1 year. It's forever. I love you, little sister. I'm sorry I couldn't protect Mom. I'm sorry I left you there. But you're stronger than me. You're stronger than Mom. You're going to make it out. Don't look back. Your brother, Nathan. P.S. I filed this letter with my recruiter and will transfer it to my commanding officer upon arrival at my first post. If you ever need help, go to Colonel Patricia Brennan. She knows the truth. I read it 3 times. Cried until I couldn't breathe. Nathan knew. He knew Dad had caused Mom's death. He knew Dad would try to trap me. He left proof. 3 years after his own death, Nathan was still protecting me. Wednesday morning, April 2nd. Mrs. Caldwell pulled me aside between classes. The scholarship board reviewed your father's file yesterday. They found serious discrepancies. He has raised an additional $78,000 since January, claiming it's for your education and Nathan's memorial. Not a cent of it was reported to the foundation. They're contacting the Montana Attorney General's office. What does that mean? It means your father committed fraud, and they're taking it very seriously. That afternoon, Calvin Hutchkins, the scholarship board director, called a meeting with church leadership. Pastor Timothy Walsh was present. They reviewed the financial records together. Dan said the February fundraiser was for Evie's therapy and medical bills, Pastor Walsh said. We raised $48,000 at the church alone, Calvin replied, laying bank records on the table. Not $1 had gone toward therapy, medical bills, or any of the stated purposes. The pastor's face turned white. By evening, the state had assigned an investigator. By midnight, Colonel Brennan was on a plane to Montana. Thursday, April 3rd, 4 p.m. I was in Mrs. Caldwell's car on the way to her house. Emergency protective custody had been approved. I had 1 bag of clothes, my laptop, and Nathan's letter. Mrs. Caldwell's phone rang. She put it on speaker. "Mrs. Caldwell, this is Calvin Hutchkins. Tell Evie we're taking action. April 6th is Nathan's 3rd annual memorial service. We're going to read his letter and present the financial evidence in front of the entire community. Is she okay with that?" I took the phone. "I'm okay with it. Evie, your father will be there. He can't be legally barred from attending. It's a public memorial." "I know. I'll be there too." "Are you sure?" "Nathan would want me there." Friday morning, April 4th, Colonel Brennan, Attorney Susan Moreland from Montana Legal Services, and a state investigator gathered at Mrs. Caldwell's house. They brought everything. Nathan's authenticated letter, bank records, Betty Garrison's video, text messages obtained through warrant. Evie, Attorney Moreland said, "We have sufficient evidence to prosecute. But you need to make one decision. Nathan wrote that letter for you. Do you want it to remain private, or do you want people to know the truth?" I thought about Nathan. About the scholarship he never lived to use. About the community that had donated in genuine faith, believing every dollar was helping me. "Nathan didn't get privacy when he died," I said. "Mom didn't get privacy when she fell. I didn't get privacy when my books burned. He doesn't get privacy now." Friday afternoon, we returned to my old house. Police escort. Dad was at work. We climbed to the attic and found Mom's sewing box, exactly where Nathan had described. Inside, envelopes. Cash. We counted it. $8,240. Small bills saved quietly over years. Tucked beneath them, a folded note in Mom's handwriting. Dated March 10th, 2020. 1 week before she died. For Evie's future. For freedom, when she's old enough to leave. Don't let him find this. Don't let him tell her she can't make it on her own. She can. She's brilliant. She's strong. She's nothing like him. All my love, Mom. I held that note and read it 5 times. Mrs. Caldwell put her arm around me. "She knew," she said quietly. "She knew you'd need a way out. She tried to give you one. She died a week after writing this, but you're going to use it. For both of you. Sunday, April 6, 2026. Nathan's third annual memorial service. 2 p.m. Riverside Veterans Hall. I arrived at 1:45 alongside Mrs. Caldwell, Colonel Brennan, and Attorney Moreland. Press was gathered outside. Local news had learned through community channels that something significant was about to unfold. 236 people attended. Veterans, church members, teachers, Nathan's old classmates, scholarship donors, community leaders. As I walked in, people stared and whispered, "That's Evie. Heard something happened. Why is there an investigator here? Is that Colonel Brennan from Nathan's unit?" At 2:03, Dad arrived wearing a suit. The grieving father costume. He saw Colonel Brennan at the podium, saw me in the third row, saw the state investigator standing at the back. His face shifted. Confusion, then fear. He took a seat in the front row alone. Nobody sat near him. The service began as it always had. Pastor Walsh offered an opening prayer. A slideshow of Nathan's photos played across the screen. Childhood. High school football. Air Force uniform. Smiling. Soft background music. It felt familiar. A routine annual ritual. Calvin Hutchkins spoke next. "We gather today, as we have for 3 years, to remember Nathan Andrews. Airman First Class. Son. Brother. Hero. His sacrifice reminds us that freedom isn't free. His legacy lives on in this community's love and support for his family. Today, we have an important update about the scholarship and about Nathan's true wishes. Colonel Patricia Brennan, Nathan's commanding officer, will now address us." Colonel Brennan walked to the podium, set down a folder, and looked directly at Dad. "Thank you all for being here. What I'm about to share is difficult, but Nathan left clear instructions, and I intend to honor them. 3 years ago, Airman Andrews filed documents with me. He asked me to share them at the right time. That time is now." She opened the folder. In May 2022, 14 months before his death, Nathan wrote a letter to his sister Evie. He entrusted it to me for safekeeping. He said, "Give it to her when she needs it most." With Evie's permission, I'm going to read portions of it now. The room went completely silent. Dad's hands gripped the armrests. Colonel Brennan read slowly, clearly. "Dear Evie, if you're reading this, either I'm dead or you're finally free. I need you to know the truth about our family." She read about Mom's death, about Dad shoving her, about the 20-minute delay, about the lies told to police. She read about Dad's control, about the suffocating trapped feeling, about Nathan's escape through enlistment. She read, "Don't let Dad trap you the way he trapped Mom. You're the brilliant one. Get out. Don't look back. I love you. Nathan." 14 minutes. People wept, gasped, turned to stare at Dad. His face cycled through red, then white, then red again. Trembling, he rose to his feet. "This is slander." Colonel Brennan didn't flinch. "Sit down, Mr. Andrews, or you will be removed. This is Nathan's memorial. You don't control it anymore." The state investigator stepped closer. Dad sat back down. Colonel Brennan folded the letter. That was Nathan's voice. His truth. The question now is, why are we only hearing it today? Why didn't Nathan's sister make it to Stanford the way he wanted? She paused. "Let me show you." Calvin Hutchkins joined her at the podium. A projector screen descended. The presentation began. Slide 1. Total raised in Nathan's name, 2023 to 2026, $263,000. Slide 2. Scholarship fund held in trust, $150,000 intact. Slide 3. Distributed to Daniel Andrews, $113,000. Slide 4. Stated purpose, medical bills, therapy, memorial expenses. Slide 5. Photographs, receipts. Truck purchase, $48,000. Casino withdrawals, $22,000. Home remodel, $18,000. Slide 6. Amount spent on Evie or Nathan's memorial, $0. Gasps swept through the room. Someone began to cry. Calvin spoke. "Many of you donated to this fund. You gave from your hearts. You believed you were helping Nathan's sister go to college. You believed Daniel Andrews when he told you Evie had chosen to stay home. That was a lie." He pulled up an email projected on the screen. Dad's message to the scholarship board. January 19th. Evie decided to honor Nathan by staying close to family. Then the text messages to Kyle. Easy money keeps rolling. Pulled her enrollment. She's staying home. Then Betty Garrison's video. 90 seconds. Books burning. Dad's voice. Education is wasted on you. I already rejected that scholarship. Every cent stays with me. The room erupted. Voices overlapping. Dad stood again. You can't do this. This is. Sit down. Colonel Brennan's voice sliced through the noise. Or you will be escorted out. You do not get to speak here. He sat, covering his face with both hands. Calvin continued. The scholarship board filed a formal complaint with the Montana Attorney General 3 days ago. An investigation is now underway. Daniel Andrews faces multiple criminal charges, including charity fraud and educational interference. He paused. The scholarship fund that you created, the $150,000 held by our foundation, is still intact. And Evie Andrews is going to use it. She is going to Stanford in the fall. Scattered applause, then building, then the entire room rising to its feet. Before we close, Calvin said, Evie would like to say something. I stood, walked to the podium. 236 people watching. Cameras rolling. Hands trembling. Voice steady. My name is Evie Andrews. I'm Nathan's sister. I'm 17 years old. 3 years ago, my brother died. You all showed up for him, for our family. You raised money. You created a scholarship. You believed you were helping me. I want you to know your generosity was not wasted. The scholarship fund you built, the $150,000 held by the Veterans Foundation, is still intact. I'm going to use it. I'm going to Stanford. That is Nathan's real legacy. But I also need you to know that my father lied to you. He lied about me. He lied about Nathan. He took your donations and spent them on himself. He withdrew my college enrollment without my knowledge. He burned my books and told me education was wasted on me. He did all of this while standing before you, accepting awards, delivering speeches about sacrifice and family. Nathan knew before he died. He warned me. He told me not to let my father trap me. He left me a letter. Colonel Brennan, just read it. That letter saved my life. I'm not telling you this for revenge. I'm telling you because Nathan's story deserves truth. His legacy deserves truth. And every single one of you who gave deserves truth. My father didn't honor Nathan. He weaponized him. He turned my brother's death into a business. But Nathan's real legacy isn't money. It's this. He taught me that love means setting people free, not trapping them. He taught me that family can be chosen and not merely inherited. And he taught me that education is the way out. I'm going to Stanford. I'm going to live the life Nathan wanted for me. And I'm going to honor him by being free. Thank you for loving my brother. Thank you for trying to help me. I hope you can forgive my father someday. I'm not there yet. But I'm going to be okay. Nathan made sure of that. Silence for 3 full seconds. Then a standing ovation. 236 people on their feet, weeping, applauding. Colonel Brennan embraced me. Dad remained in his seat, head buried in his hands. From the back of the room, an older veteran rose. Mr. Jack Thornton, 68 years old. Vietnam. His voice cut cleanly through the noise. The room fell quiet. Daniel Andrews. A long pause. You dishonored your son. You dishonored this uniform. You dishonored every person in this room. We are taking Nathan's legacy back from you. Starting right now. The gathering transformed into an impromptu community forum. People stood one by one and spoke. I gave $500. I'm on disability. That was a month's worth of bills. You spent it on a truck. Nathan was my student. He was brilliant and he was hurting. I should have seen it sooner. Pastor Tim, we need to audit every church fundraiser. This cannot happen again. I lost my son in Iraq. When I donated to Nathan's fund, I thought I was sparing another mother that grief. Daniel, you're a disgrace. Pastor Walsh rose from his seat. On behalf of Riverside Community Church, I offer my sincerest apology. We enabled this. We failed to verify. We gave our trust blindly. We are implementing new financial oversight immediately, and we will personally refund every donor who requests it. Dad attempted to speak. I only wanted. Jack Thornton. Sit down. You don't get to talk anymore. You had 3 years. You lied every single time. Dad looked at me. I looked back. No anger. No fear. Just done. He walked out. The door closed behind him. Nobody followed. After he left, the gathering continued for another 45 minutes. Calvin announced, Evie's scholarship is fully reinstated. Stanford's enrollment process has been restarted. The university has extended her deadline due to the fraud circumstances. He continued, we are implementing new oversight immediately. 3-person board approval for any family distributions. Annual public financial reports. And Nathan's letter will be permanently displayed here at Veterans Hall, with Evie's permission, so that his truth is never forgotten again. 236 people became witnesses. Local news broadcast the story that night. Regional outlets picked it up Monday. By Wednesday, national media had covered it. Teen exposes father's fraud using dead brother's letter. Small Montana town rallies after scholarship scandal. As people filed out, dozens approached me. Hugs, tears, apologies, promises of support. Mrs. Betty Garrison, the neighbor who had filmed the burning, squeezed my hands. Honey, I wish I'd called someone sooner. You called when it mattered. Thank you. The last person to approach was Nathan's old platoon mate from basic training. He had driven 8 hours from Wyoming. Nathan talked about you constantly in basic. Said you were the reason he kept going through the hardest days. Said you were brilliant. Said he was going to make absolutely sure you got out. He paused. He was right. You're a fighter. Monday, April 7th. The Montana Attorney General filed formal charges against Daniel Andrews. 3 counts. 2 counts of charity fraud. 1 count of educational interference, elevated to a felony due to the financial fraud component. At the press conference, the AG spokesperson stated, Daniel Andrews exploited his community's generosity and his son's military service for personal gain. He deliberately obstructed his daughter's education to maintain access to charitable funds. These crimes carry significant penalties. Separately, the Montana State Police reopened the case surrounding Rachel Andrews' death. A warrant was issued to exhume her body. Nathan's account in the letter, combined with the hospital's internal report noting head trauma, created sufficient probable cause for an involuntary manslaughter investigation. By May, Dad's attorney approached the AG with a plea agreement. Plead guilty to 2 counts of charity fraud and 1 count of educational interference. Sentencing recommendation: 18 months in jail, 5 years probation, $113,000 in restitution to donors and the scholarship fund, and mandatory therapy. Attorney Moreland consulted me. I had victim input rates. Evie, they're offering a deal. It avoids trial and guarantees jail time and full restitution. This is your call. Will I have to see him? Not if you don't want to. The restraining order stays in place. And Stanford, you're enrolled. You're moving forward. None of this affects that. Then I don't care what he gets. I just want it over. The AG accepted the plea. Sentencing was scheduled for June 15th. The involuntary manslaughter investigation continued separately, with no plea offer on that charge pending forensic results. While the criminal case moved forward, civil action began simultaneously. The Veterans Foundation sued Daniel Andrews for return of misappropriated funds. The church filed a civil complaint. Individual donors organized a class action. The court ordered full restitution. Dad's house went up for sale. $95,000 remained on the mortgage. The property was worth $185,000. The equity would cover most of what was owed. The truck was repossessed. His wages were garnished 25% for 10 years if restitution wasn't fully paid up front. Then something unexpected happened. Retired Colonel James Keller, who had served alongside Nathan's unit in a previous deployment, donated $50,000 to the scholarship fund anonymously. When reporters discovered this and asked him why, he said simply, Nathan's courage and Evie's strength deserve support. Period. Other donations followed. By summer 2026, the Nathan Andrews Memorial Scholarship had grown into a $280,000 endowment, enough to support me and future recipients for years to come. June 15, 2026. Sentencing hearing. I didn't attend. I was in California, visiting the Stanford campus and preparing for the fall. I sent a victim impact statement to be read aloud by Attorney Moreland. Your Honor, my name is Evie Andrews. I am the victim in this case, though I dislike that word. Victim implies helplessness. I am not helpless. Not anymore. My father stole my scholarship, burned my books, and deceived an entire community. But he did not steal my future, because my brother Nathan left me a way out. And because good people, teachers, veterans, lawyers, and strangers chose to believe me and stand beside me. I don't know what the right punishment is for what my father did. I'm not here to ask for leniency or for severity. I'm here to say that I am moving forward. I'm going to Stanford. I'm going to honor Nathan by living freely. And I hope my father someday understands that love doesn't trap people. It sets them free. I forgive him, not for his sake, but for mine, because carrying anger would only trap me again. And I am done being trapped. The judge sentenced him to 18 months in county jail, 5 years probation, full restitution, mandatory therapy, and a permanent no-contact order with me. The judge stated, "Mr. Andrews, you exploited your son's death, betrayed your daughter's trust, and defrauded your community. Your son attempted to protect his sister, even from beyond the grave. That demonstrates more genuine character than anything you have shown in this courtroom." As Dad was led away, a reporter called out, "Do you have anything to say to Evie?" He stopped. I thought I was protecting her from. He had no answer. The sentence never finished. In August 2026, the exhumation and additional autopsy were completed. The medical examiner's report confirmed blunt force trauma to the head consistent with a fall. Subdural hematoma had led to cardiac arrest. Death was ruled homicide by assault. The Montana AG filed an additional charge, involuntary manslaughter in the death of Rachel Andrews. No plea deal was offered. Trial was scheduled for spring 2027. I received a call from the lead detective. "Miss Andrews, we have sufficient evidence to prosecute. We need to know if you're willing to testify about family dynamics, Nathan's letter, and the pattern of abuse." "Yes, but not until summer 2027. I need my first year of college. I need to heal first." "We can work within that timeline." Before leaving for Stanford, I visited Mom's grave. A new headstone, paid for by the community fund. Rachel Elizabeth Andrews, 1981 to 2020. Beloved mother. She wanted us to fly. I placed flowers and whispered, "I'm using the money. I'm going." Nathan and we both made it out. I love you, Mom. The summer before Stanford was about healing. I lived with Mrs. Caldwell, worked part-time at the library, and attended therapy twice a week, covered by the Montana Victims' Compensation Fund. I slowly learned to breathe again. My therapist, Dr. Laura Finch, asked in our very first session, "What do you want to work on?" "I want to figure out how to be happy without guilt. How to succeed without feeling like I'm betraying the people I lost. How to simply be Evie, not Evie who survived." We worked on it twice a week for 12 weeks. I created a ritual. Every Sunday morning, I wrote a letter to Nathan. Never sent them. Just wrote. Told him about Stanford prep, about therapy, about small, everyday joys. Good coffee. A stunning sunset. Mrs. Caldwell's cat doing something ridiculous. By the end of summer, I had 12 letters. I kept them in a box alongside his original letter. My own personal archive. Late July, my Stanford welcome kit arrived. Student ID card. Class schedule. Dorm assignment. Wilbur Hall, room 318. I opened it alone in my room and cried. But this time, they were happy tears. Pure relief. I made it. Nathan, I made it. August 20th. 2 days before Stanford move-in. Mrs. Caldwell held a small farewell gathering at her house. 25 people came. Teachers, Colonel Brennan, scholarship board members, neighbors, Nathan's old friends. Mrs. Caldwell raised her glass. To Evie, one of the strongest people I have ever had the privilege of knowing. You survived what would have broken most people. You are going to do remarkable things. Make us proud. Hear, hear. People brought gifts. Colonel Brennan handed me Nathan's dog tags. The Air Force had retained them until now. He'd want you to have these. Calvin Hutchkins gave me a framed photograph of Nathan in uniform alongside the official scholarship certificate. For your dorm room. Betty Garrison pressed $500 cash into my hands. College kids need coffee. Pastor Timothy offered a handwritten letter of apology and the church directory. We failed you. But we're here if you ever need us. Nathan's high school girlfriend, Jenna, gave me a photo album from his senior year. So you remember him happy. The last to arrive was Attorney Moreland. She drew me aside quietly. Evie, I have something from your mother. She handed me an envelope. When we searched your old house for evidence, we found this hidden inside your mother's jewelry box. It's addressed to you. Dated March 2020. Your father never gave it to you. I slipped away to the bathroom. I opened it alone. A letter from Mom. Dated March 14, 2020. 3 days before she died. My dearest Evie, you're 11 now. Still my little girl. But someday you'll be grown. And if you're reading this, it means I'm not there to see it. I don't know if I'll make it out of this marriage. Your father is getting worse. I'm frightened, but I'm also planning. I have money saved. I have a plan to leave with you and Nathan. But if that plan fails, I need you to know this. You are brilliant. You are kind. You are so much stronger than me. Don't let anyone, not your father, not anyone, tell you that you're not enough. You are everything. Get good grades. Earn scholarships. Leave this town if you need to. Build a life that makes you happy, not a life that keeps someone else comfortable. I love you more than words, more than life. If I'm gone, it's not because I wanted to leave you. It's because he wouldn't let me stay. Be free for me. Be happy for me. Live the life I never got to live. All my love forever. Mom. I read it 3 times. Cried until there was nothing left. Then washed my face, steadied myself, and walked back to the gathering. Mrs. Caldwell saw my expression immediately. You okay? Yeah, I am. And for the first time in as long as I could remember, I genuinely meant it. That night, I packed 3 items into a special box for Stanford. Nathan's letter. Mom's letter. Nathan's dog tags. My archive of love. Proof that I was wanted. Proof that I was worth fighting for. August 22nd, 2026. Mrs. Caldwell drove me to Stanford. 1,500 miles. A 16-hour drive spread across 2 days, with an overnight stop in Boise. We built a playlist. Nathan's favorite songs. Windows down. Montana through Idaho through Nevada into California. Crossing the California state line, I started crying. Happy tears or sad tears? Mrs. Caldwell asked. Both. Nathan never got to leave Montana. He died trying. But I'm here. I made it. He's with you. In the dog tags, in the letters, in every choice you make to be free. We arrived August 23rd at 4 p.m. The campus was breathtaking. Enormous. Overwhelming. I checked into Wilbur Hall, room 318. My roommate was already there. Casey Thornton from Boston. Chemistry major. Warm smile. Colorful hair. So what's your story? Where are you from? I hesitated for a moment. Could deflect. Could keep it simple. Instead, Montana. Small military town. It's complicated. I'll tell you sometime. Cool. No pressure. Welcome to Stanford. Classes began. I declared biomedical engineering as my major. The quiet irony wasn't lost on me. Studying cardiac systems, the very thing that had taken Mom. I joined a club supporting military families. Found a study group. Made friends slowly but genuinely. My English professor, Dr. Angela Reeves, read my first personal essay and called me to her office. Evie, you write like someone who had to fight for the right to have a voice. This is powerful, raw, and deeply honest. Have you considered writing about your experience more formally? Perhaps for publication. Maybe someday. First quarter grades arrived. Straight A's. 4.0 GPA. The scholarship board sent a card. Nathan would be proud. We're proud. Keep going. October brought my first therapy appointment in California. Stanford Health Services. A new therapist asked, "What do you want to work on?" I want to figure out how to be happy without guilt. How to succeed without feeling like I'm betraying the people I lost. How to simply be Evie. The same answer I had given in Montana. But this time, I was already halfway there. November 14th, Nathan's birthday. He would have turned 23. I took the day off classes and drove to the Pacific Coast, 45 minutes from campus. Sat on the beach and wrote letter number 18. Dear Nathan, happy birthday. You be 23. You'd probably have made sergeant by now. Stationed somewhere far away. Maybe we'd FaceTime and you'd complain about military food and I'd tell you about organic chemistry. I'm at Stanford. First quarter almost done. Straight A's. Made some friends. Casey's great. She's from Boston. Loud, funny, reminds me a little of you. I joined a group that supports military families. Told them about you. They said you sounded like a wonderful brother. I miss you every single day. But I'm okay. I'm actually okay. You did it. You saved me. Your letter, your planning, your love, it all worked. I got out. I hope wherever you are, you know that. I hope you're proud. I hope you're free. I'm living for both of us now. Love, Evie. I burned the letter in a designated fire pit on the beach and watched the smoke rise. It felt like prayer, like connection, like closure and continuation existing together in the same breath. Walking back to my car, my phone buzzed. A text from Mrs. Caldwell. Thinking of you today. Nathan would be so proud. Call if you need. Love you, kiddo. I smiled and replied. Love you too. I'm okay. Really okay. And I was. It has been 18 months since the memorial service. Since the black car. Since everything came undone. Here is where things stand now. My father served 18 months in jail and was released last month on probation. The involuntary manslaughter case went to trial this spring. The jury convicted. An additional 5 years. He is back in prison. I didn't attend the trial. I sent a written statement. That was enough. The scholarship fund is still active. I graduated from Stanford in May 2030. Summa cum laude. Biomedical engineering. I'm beginning a PhD program at MIT this fall. The Nathan Andrews Memorial Scholarship now supports 3 students every year. Nathan's legacy is real. It is changing lives. Mrs. Caldwell is still teaching. We speak every week. She calls herself my bonus mom. I call her that too. Colonel Brennan retired from the Air Force. She wrote a book about military families and trauma. I wrote the foreword. I'm still in therapy. Probably always will be. And that is perfectly okay. I don't speak to my father. Maybe someday. Maybe never. I don't owe him my forgiveness, but I've forgiven him for my own sake, so I don't carry the weight of it anymore. If you're watching this and you feel trapped by family, by guilt, by someone else's distorted version of love, I want you to know something. You can leave. It won't be easy. It might take years. It might take help from people you haven't met yet. But you can leave. Nathan used to say, some people trap you with hate. Others trap you with love. Either way, it's still a cage. He died fighting for his freedom and mine. I am living proof that the cage can break. Family isn't who shares your blood. Family is who wants you free. And if you're standing alone right now, if you're the only one fighting for yourself, then fight anyway. Be your own family. Save yourself. No one else can do it for you. But you don't have to do it alone. That's my story. That's Nathan's story. That's how I survived the man who was supposed to protect me. If this resonated with you, if you've been trapped, if you've fought for your freedom, if you're still fighting, leave a comment. Tell me you're here. You don't have to share your story if you're not ready. Just say I'm here. That's enough. I read every single comment. This community reads every comment. You are not alone. Subscribe if you want more stories like this. Real stories. Survival stories. Stories about people who were told they weren't worth educating, weren't worth believing, weren't worth saving, and proved everyone wrong. And if you need help right now, National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233. Child Protective Services, call 911 or your state hotline. A teacher, a counselor, a coach, a friend's parent. Tell someone today. Not tomorrow. Today. Nathan left me a letter. It saved my life. If you don't have a Nathan, be your own Nathan. Write your own letter. Make your own plan. Get out. Next video. How to rebuild after family betrayal. How to learn to trust again. How to stop feeling guilty for surviving. See you next week. You're still here. That means you're still fighting. Keep fighting.